Hi, I'm Josh Silva, and this is my original oratory piece, Harsh Realities for the Region 2 State Qualifying Tournament. Hola amigos, wanna come fiesta with me? Here, come to this family party with me. You want some tacos? We have tacos de pollo, al pastor, adobada, carnitas, barbacoa, and mi mamá makes a muy bueno carne asada. Oh, and how can I forget about the tamales? We have red ones and green ones. But watch out, senor, the red ones are mucho spicy. Here, come meet my family. Here's Caro, Aaron, Andy, Luis, and Mateo. This is only a small part of my family. The rest of them are playing soccer right now. Oh, you want me to mow your lawn tomorrow? Of course, senor, I got you. Now, as you assumed, I'm Mexican and my family comes from Mexico. You probably assumed this with all the great Mexican stereotypes that you've heard. You know what type of stereotypes I'm talking about. Mexicans having tons and tons and tons of family members and them bringing a bunch of food to family parties. Oh, and my personal favorite, which is that every single Mexican knows how to mow a lawn. I mean, I wish I knew how to mow a lawn. You know how much dinero I'd get from charging my neighbors? I mean, I'd look like a Mexican drug lord. Anyways, if you did make these assumptions, you're not the only one. Most people use stereotypes to judge a person without even getting to know them. How can we judge someone based on the color of their skin without even getting to know somebody? In order to truly understand someone, you have to get to know the person before jumping to conclusions. So, today, let's examine why we create stereotypes, then give examples of racial stereotyping, and finally, learning how to reduce stereotypical thinking. So, why do we create stereotypes? Well, as human beings, we naturally evaluate everything that we come in contact with. According to Paul Bloom, a professor at Yale, states that the three biggest things that social psychologists talk about are age, sex, and race. Meaning that when you look at somebody, in a fraction of a second, you record whether they are a kid, an adult, an old person, a man, a woman, American, African, black, white. You do this in a fraction of a second. It's unconscious. Which is crazy that our mind is able to distinguish someone's racial identity in such a short amount of time. When considering that we're all the same organisms that can be traced back to one place, Africa. See, over 60,000 years ago, our ancestors migrated to different parts of the world. In the words of Bill Nye, the science guy, as groups of us moved to different parts of the world, our skin color had to change. And here's why. Our skin is where we make vitamin D. If we don't get enough ultraviolet rays, we don't get enough vitamin D. If the ultraviolet rays vary, our skin color has to vary as well. And that's it. Not because someone's a different skin color than you means that they're different. Yet there are still many people out there that stereotype others for the color of their skin. But the truth is, no matter what skin color you are, we all bleed red. We're all the same. Now, some of us may not stereotype intentionally, but we have to catch ourselves and realize it, since our mind stereotypes others without us even realizing it. For example, during the 2008 presidential election, psychologists at the University of South California and San Diego University decided to see who was seen as more American between the two presidential candidates, Barack Obama and presidential candidate John McCain. During this survey, it was seen that presidential candidate John McCain was seen as more American than Barack Obama. This may be due to the fact that he was a war hero serving for America in the Vietnam War. So, psychologists decided to compare presidential candidate Barack Obama with Prime Minister at the time, Tony Blair. During the study, it was shown that Prime Minister Blair was seen as more American than Barack Obama, which is crazy due to the fact that every single person that took this survey was fully aware that Minister Blair was not American at all. But Barack Obama would go on to become the 44th President of the United States of America. But through this survey, it is shown that America is associated with a skin color, white. The fact of the matter is that white people only represent about 59.7% of America's population, leaving about 40.3% to minorities. You don't have to be white to be American. Your skin color doesn't represent you. You represent you. Now, over the past couple of years, we've paid more and more attention to racism. And sadly, it seems like it will always be a problem in our future as well. As Will Smith said, racism is not getting worse, it's only getting filmed. Minorities have to deal with racial stereotyping and racial hatred, which is something that they've always had to deal with in their lives. I know I always had to deal with it, even when I was little. I mean, is it my fault that when I was in the first grade, I was made fun of and teased of because of the color of my skin? That wouldn't stop there. I still remember the first time in the fourth grade that I was called a beaner. Little would I know that this was the first of thousands of times that I would be racially attacked. I mean, what was I supposed to do other than cry? When they say kids are cruel, they truly are. They're cold and unfiltered, leaving first grader me to ask my mom, why am I different from others? But you gotta love America though, right? Where even in today's youth, minorities have to deal with the harsh realities of this world at such a young age. I know I wasn't the only one that had to deal with this. I mean, am I supposed to be ashamed of being part of the Latinx community in this country? Obviously, it should be a no, right? Since I can live the same life as a white person. Well, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you the truth. It's honestly so hard to be a proud minority these days when people make false accusations and false lies and false stereotypes, making my race look horrible. For example, our past president, Donald Trump, when he launched his presidential campaign by calling all Mexicans thugs and rapists. I was 12 at the time when I first heard this. At 12, I was being called a thug and a rapist. I mean, people wanted me to prove his point by wanting me to fail. They wanted me on drugs. They wanted me in jail just to prove that all Mexicans are the same. I mean, I haven't even held hands with a girl yet. That's because they have cooties, not because I'm very single or anything. But when will it be enough that we stop taking account the color of someone's skin, but individualizing them instead? Well, we can make everyone stop racial stereotyping everyone, right? No, I wish it was that easy in today's harsh society. Patricia Devine, a professor at Wisconsin, made 5 techniques to reduce stereotypical thinking. Her first technique is stereotype replacing, which is generating non-stereotypical alternatives to explain someone's behavior. Her next technique is counter-stereotyping, which is realizing that not all people of that race match that stereotype, which leads to her next technique, which is individualizing, which means that when you get to know somebody, you shouldn't take account the color of their skin or the stereotypes that you've heard, but getting to know the person before jumping to those conclusions. And Patricia Devine's my favorite technique is perspective taking. Imagine what that person's daily lives look like. Imagine what all the problems they have to go through and the harsh realities that they have to face. And finally, is reaching out. Reaching out to the stereotype group and getting yourself educated and learning about their issues and learning how you can help in order to live a life where no one is judged by the color of their skin. Now, I know that this speech will not stop racial stereotyping, but it is the right step that we need to take in order to live a life where no one is stereotyped, but judged by the actions that they take. You represent you. So now, let's fiesta together.